Hi friends, today we are going to discuss another design pattern called ballet key pattern. Now in this pattern, we take similarities from the ballet parking. So what happens is ballet parking. In ballet parking, you give your key to the valets that are standing at the hotel or at the restaurants, and they park cars on your behalf so that you can escape the trouble of parking the car yourself. And in this case, you are temporarily giving the keys to your car to the valet. And once your car is parked, they return the keys to you, right? Similarly, what happens is when you have an application and you have your application, this is app, and this is the client that wants to talk to your application. And let's say this app and this client wants to access some resource which is present in some data store. Generally, what we see is if any client, this may be a mobile client, wants to access any data, it requests the application and then application fetches that data and returns it, right? This is the normal flow. But if the size of data is high, or if the volume of requests which are retrieving this data is high, then what happens is it is going to have higher utilization, resource utilization on your app instance. So to use your resources efficiently, what you can do is you can make this data store available to the client himself, so that instead of doing communications like this, your client can communicate directly like this. Now, what is the challenge to this? If you give direct access to the client, then what is going to happen? Your data store is can be compromised because uh, there may be some portions that you don't want the client allow the client to read. There may be you may want to segregate the data, but for example, a particular client or particular customer should be able to access data for himself only. He should not be able to access the data for others. Also, this was the read use case. There may be write use cases as well, in which you don't want to write the data like this. You want a more efficient way to write directly to your data store. This prevents your resource utilization on your application. And here also, directly writing the data to your data store can pose challenges like you want to control the amount of data that client can write. You want to control the place where the client should write, and you want different types of control on the data that should be done. Also, there may be that you want to restrict the amount of times a client should be able to write. You also want to control the time during which a client can interact with the data store directly. So in this case, what we do is when your application, your client application is interacting, this is your mobile app or web browser, and it is interacting with the application. This is your data store. So your client request the read, let's suppose read write access to the application for, let's say, customer C1. And then application may authorize or check the authentication that this client or this request is authenticated to access C1 or not. Once that is done, then application will check what are the different level of permissions that are allowed for this client. Depending on this, it is going to talk to the data store and generate a token, right? And this token is going to be short-lived. Let's say for 5 minutes, and then this token is returned to the client. And using this token, the client directly interacts with the data store. With this token, you can also return the resource that you can access. It can be read or write resource. So with this token, client can directly access the resource it has been granted access to, and it can read and write the data. Now, all the interaction which is happening between data store and client is happening independent of the main app. So app may here can be chances that your application can lose control over the interaction that is happening between client and data store. What you can do is either you can make the process like once the application, this interaction is over, then client should inform the application back that the interaction is over, and client can, application can invalidate this token. So that if for some example the user wants to maliciously do another activity or some other activity, he may not be able to use this token as it has been validated. So when this client takes the invalidated token to the data store, the access is not granted to the client. Also, if this is the callback, which tells the application that particular action has been taken on the data store directly, and client can basically log these requests. Client can basically log these requests. It can check. It can basically validate. Once the data has been written, client can initiate asynchronous pipelines which can validate the data that has been written to the data store. It can validate any other thing. For example, it can validate the actions that has been taken on the token that was generated, so that even after the action has been done, we can find that if any unintended action was taken by the client or not. There can be cases in which you have this S3, this is your client, and this is your application. So this is your data store, and once the activity between the client and the data store is done, then data store can asynchronously inform the application that particular action has been done. So many major data stores provide events on a particular resource. So for example, if any event or any action takes place on the data store, then they can generate an event, and your application can subscribe to those events and find out what action was taken by the token that was generated, and if it was intended action or not, and it can basically validate the payload as well. So this way also, if your client is not informing the application that action has been completed, then data store can directly inform the client about a particular action. But this event sourcing by the data store depends on data store to data store. Not all data store provides this functionality. Also, one thing you have to keep in mind is whenever application is generating a token using the data store, there is going to be a challenge in the form what is the granularity of permissions that you require. So in this case, in your object storage, it can be what is the object size that you can allow. Maybe some object storages do not provide this. If it is a direct database, then you will need granularity, like on which tables or on which collection or on which key range you want this particular customer or this particular token be allowed access to. So so that your client can only access that particular allowed resource and not other resources. This is going to increase security in your application. To reiterate, this type of valet key pattern is useful when you don't want your application to be a bottleneck in large data transfer or frequent data transfer, and it is going to reduce your cost if your data transfers are very high, or if your data transfers are very frequent. It is going to improve your cost and improve the client performance as well, because your number of requests to the data store can be increased without impacting your application stability. So that is also one of the advantages of this pattern, where clients are directly allowed access to the data stores. One thing we have to keep in mind is this token is different from the username passwords. How? Uh, these tokens can be independently, if the functionality is provided by the data store, the tokens can be independently generated by the application using the username passwords of the data store that application is using, and these username password combination should have access to generate the tokens, generate the data store tokens on behalf of the data store, so that when the tokens are returned, these tokens can be used by the data store, and on the basis of permissions that have been assigned with the token, the data store can decide which all access should be granted to this request and for how long, right? Now, on the very crude level, if you want to understand, you can also think that the tokens can be generated by taking the data or taking the access permissions, whatever that application wants to allow the client for the data store. Then it can basically read some resource, write some resource, and time to expiry, like after how much time the client will expire, this token will expire, and then the application can encrypt this data with its key, and then this token is sent to the data store, and data store can decrypt this data using the key that data store has, and it can understand what all permissions or what all granularity of permissions that application wants to access to this client. And since client does not have decryption keys, it will not be able to tamper the data. So this is a very crude implementation that I'm talking about. There can be other implementations too, which are far better than this. In token system, you're not generating a new user and password. So there is no resource constraint on how many tokens that you can generate, because you're not generating more users in your data store, and these users will not have to be deleted after the operation has been done. So these are very lightweight operations that you can carry out. Token generation is a lightweight operation. Now let's discuss what are the points that we should keep in mind when you are implementing a valid key pattern. First of all, it is validity. You should create tokens so that they are not so much long-lived that they can be used for some malicious purpose, and they should not be so much short-lived that the operation that is running on the data store, the token expires before this operation completes. And if possible, you can also implement a functionality in which if the token is about to expire and your operation has yet not completed, then client can issue a request to the application to renew this token, and application can renew this token so that the data store can allow the request to go forward and start consuming the new validity for the token. Another thing that we have to keep in mind is access control granularity of the token. You should always consider how much permissions are being given to the token. They should be the minimum possible, so that even if the token is compromised, it can only affect the data that it was allowed to access. And this granularity of permissions depend on the data store you are using. Some data stores may provide different type of granularity, and some provide different type of granularity. In these token scenarios where users are directly interacting with the data store, you need to understand what are the different upsides and downsides of using this pattern. Also, you have to control the behavior that that clients can take. For example, there may not be it may not be possible that you are able to control the data, that amount of data that is allowed for a particular token. Then in this case, what you can do is you can use asynchronous processing, where the data store is providing events when a particular action has been taken, or you can enforce the clients to take a particular action or to inform the application when their action has been completed. So application can start the background processing of validating the data that has been uploaded from the client. Sorry, from the data store. It goes without saying that whenever your clients are directly writing any data to the data store, it should always be validated and sanitized before consumption, because if it is a malicious user, then that should not be capable of creating such data that impacts your application stability. And if the data is not properly sanitized before consumption, then it may lead to bad behavior in application, or it may lead to system crashes. So you should always sanitize the data before consumption. Another thing that you have to keep in mind is audit. You should always audit the actions that are being taken by a particular client or by a particular token, so that on this basis you can generate billing, or you can verify the actions that are taken by your customer, because it may be possible that due to some bug, a user has taken any action which it was not allowed to take. So it is always good to have an audit trail which can be used for future debugging scenarios. Security of the token or the key that you have generated is very immensely important, because if it is leaked, then then any user can be able to take action on that allowed resource, which may lead to a system problem. So you should always deliver the keys from your application to your clients in a secure format, and they should be either provided encrypted so that clients can decrypt and then use them, or they should be provided via secure protocols like HTTPS. Other things that you have to keep in mind when you are implementing this pattern is there may be some data stores which may not provide the event pipeline of the events that are taken in the data store. In this case, it is going to be difficult for the application to know that a particular action has been taken by the client until and unless client himself informs the application. So in case of malicious users, you may not be able to find out whether an action has been taken on the data store, and in that case your response to that risk event is going to take time, because you won't have any direct access, direct alert or direct notification of the event on your data store. Also, the type of data store and the granularity of the keys that can be generated or tokens that can be generated for the data store is going to affect how you can implement valid key pattern, and how much level of granularity can you provide on the resources inside your data store. You should keep in mind that whenever you are providing start time of the token along with the token, so for example, if your application specifies that this token is valid only after, let's say, 10:01 a.m. and you're specifying the time after which the token is valid, then you should always keep your applications designed in such a way that there can be differences in the time that is present on your server and differences in the time that is present on your mobile client. So you should design your applications with flexibility, so that even if your application starts, your key validity starts at 10:01 a.m., you should provide, let's say, 10:00 a.m. So that even if the time on mobile client or time on the client side is 10:00, then you may be able to use this token. Now, this is going to be somewhat difficult to understand, because it is a very edge case, so I'm not going to go in depth of this. Now, whenever you are providing the token, it is going to be present in some log file. So either you have to mask this token out so that it cannot be used for malicious purpose if these log files are compromised, or you should write these token in log files only after the token has expired, so that even if the token is compromised from the log files, it cannot be accessed. Similarly, for monitoring systems as well, you should write these tokens in the monitoring system only after the token is expired, so that there is a level of safety that even if the token is expired, even if the tokens are compromised, they cannot be reused. Another thing that you should keep in mind is CORS, cross origin resource sharing. Cross origin resource sharing. So what happens in your valid key pattern is, first of all, you are opening your mycompany.com, which is sending the request to your application servers, and then you are being returned to a token and the resource URL and some URL to which your application should hit. Let's say this URL is datastore.com, and you are taking datastore token to the datastore.com from your my company website page or my company page. In this case, what the browsers impose is they won't be allowing datastore.com to be accessed from a page which has mycompany.com. So in this case, you will have to do some special configuration in datastore.com so that it allows requests coming from mycompany.com web pages also. This is called cross origin request sharing, in which you are allowing you are making some configuration changes in datastore.com to allow requests incoming from the web page mycompany.com. This is called cross origin resource sharing, and they should be allowed before using valid key pattern. Otherwise, datastore.com is going to deny the request, saying that this mycompany.com is not authorized or not allowed to access resources from datastore.com. Let's try to see what are the advantages of valid key pattern. First of all, it provides scalability in the form that our application or our traffic is not limited by our application size or application instance size to scale to use read and write from the data store. Otherwise, what would have happened was all our writes would have gone from, all our reads would have gone from the application, all the writes would have gone from the application, and our application would have to be scaled, leading to higher cost. This pattern also has an advantage. For example, let's say our data store and our applications are present in different data centers, which are divided by this blue line. And if a request is coming, and if we had used a conventional pattern where our request would have traveled like this, then what would have happened was there would have been a high transfer cost, because inter data center transfer costs are going to be high. Whereas in our case, using valid key pattern, our data transfer would have been just like this. So it would have reduced our data transfer cost as well. So valid key pattern is a very good design pattern that you can use when you're having heavy reads and writes from an external data store, but it may not be a good pattern when you want to do some processing on this data before storing on the data store. So if you want some processing on the data, then it is best to route it via your application, or a better way would have been store the data in the data store first, and then by asynchronous processing process this data, and then process and validate and respond to that data. So that is going to scale your application better. The only other downside that we can think is you may not be able to restrict the amount of data that you want the user to upload to the data store. So if data store does not have data limiting functionality, then it may not be a suitable pattern. So that's all for the valid key pattern. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know your views and comments. Thank you and have a nice day.